Hey guys, welcome back to Hoeology Podcast, aka the Guilty Pleasure Podcast. I am so excited to be back on the mic. Woo, child. And dropping my gems. You guys know last episode was a little bit hot, heavy, and raw. I was sharing an experience that I was going through, but you guys loved it. And not only did you love it, you've been asking for more. So I'm super excited. Today, though, we're getting back into our host shit, which we all know and love here on Hoeology. And if you can't tell by the title, this episode is all about being a sugar baby. How to find a sugar daddy, how to talk to them, what to exactly say, and of course, how to get that money, honey. So I'm going to be splitting up this particular topic in a couple different episodes just because I want to give you guys as much detail as possible, because I swear you can walk somebody through something and hold their hand and they will still be like, okay, but how do I do it? So I'm going to give you every detail. I'm going to drop all my gems that I've learned as a sugar baby and hopefully eliminate any extra questions. But of course, if you have any, you can always DM me on Instagram and I'm happy to help on a case-by-case basis. So let's jump straight in. So the trend and almost like a hoification of being a sugar baby has been all over social media. The girlies on TikTok are thriving. The girls that get it. The girls that don't. On Instagram, I'm seeing pictures and screenshots of people listening to spam in their DMs, which of course I'm going to talk about. How do you know if it's a scam or not? And just everywhere. Everybody and their mama is trying to be a sugar baby now. And I love that for us. But I want y'all to be safe. And I want you to be smart. And I want you to understand that it's still very much real. I think a lot of people forget that being a sugar baby, you still are dating someone. You are just being paid to date them on their terms. And of course, you're also not being expected to be exclusive, which is the best part of being a sugar baby, essentially. Anyway, jumping straight in, get your pen and paper out. No, seriously, I want you to take some notes. As a moderately successful sugar baby, there are a few things that you need to note for those who are interested in becoming a sugar baby. First of all, you cannot fake your way through being a sugar baby. Cash is king, but so is chemistry. While these men know what they're signing up for, they also know when they're being used in an inorganic manner. Sugar babies are, like I said, essentially paid girlfriends, but I'm going to spill everything you need to know based on my own personal experiences. Now, this is not a get-rich-quick scheme, but this is literally trial and error of things that I've done, sugar daddies that I've had, and just my own personal scenario. So please remember that. Don't come to me saying, Destiny, I did exactly what you did and it didn't work. Says there's only one you and there's only one me, but I can help you if you just ask. Also, it's important to remember that these men are rich, which means they're smart. So you cannot try to finesse somebody that's rich and smart. So I'm going to teach you how to do it the correct way. Let's get started. So the first important thing you need to know in the business of being a sugar baby is the lingo. There are certain terms that you're going to need to know that these daddies will throw out at you. If me saying daddies is offensive to you, or you're like, oh my God, they said daddies, turn the fucking podcast off right now. You're too immature to be a sugar baby. So the first word that you need to know is SD. If you see the word SD on Twitter, on TikTok, Instagram, anywhere, SD is sugar daddy. Pretty self-explanatory. Next thing you need to know is the word pot. Now, in vanilla terms, I say, oh, I want a pot. You think like a pot to cook in, or a pot to put my plant in, or a pot maybe weed. A pot stands for a potential sugar daddy. So really it's like POD, but pod, like potential daddy. So that is someone that has not given you any money yet, but they're showing extreme potential. So you're talking to them, flirting with them. You guys are kind of like working it out. That's what a pot is. Next is SB, which stands for, of course, sugar baby. So you'll see that when they're messaging you on the sites, you'll be like, oh, I've had an SB before, or looking for an experienced SB, like that being sugar baby. Self-explanatory. Next is a very important word, freestyling. Freestyling is when you meet a sugar daddy in person instead of online. So it's not when you're going to the date. It's when you're out at a bar, which I'm going to explain to you guys later how to meet a sugar daddy in person. You're out at a bar, you're dressed up, and then you meet a guy who's rich and he also likes younger women. You like older guys, and then he is like, oh, I'm going to take care of you. That's freestyling. Next is P4P, like P, the number 4, and then P. So you're going to see that a lot when you're online talking to daddies or pots, because P for P just basically means they want to pay you to have sex with you, and then that's it. I never, ever, ever recommend that unless you are trying to get into like escorting or maybe like being a prostitute, because that's essentially what that is. Escorts are paid girlfriends for like the night, and then they usually have like a fee for that. Sugar babies are not that. Sugar babies do not pay for play. I don't care what anybody says, because you've then ventured into another realm. Like if you're just meeting up to have sex with them, that's escorting. Like that's not what a sugar baby is. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm all for sex work, and in a way sugar baby is a form of sex work, but we are not that. So please, if you are not comfortable with that, whenever someone says, hey, are you interested in P4P? You say, oh, no, thank you. Like, I'm looking for a traditional arrangement. Which brings me to my next term that you need to know, which is the word arrangement. So an arrangement is essentially an agreement between you and your pot, who is saying, this is what we're going to be doing. We're going to go out on dates, and I'm going to take you on trips, and I'm going to give you an allowance. And then that's our arrangement. Next is the word allowance, which of course is an agreed upon amount given from the SD to the SB. Now, how you come up with that amount, we'll talk about that in detail, but that's pretty much the basic terms that you need to know. Another term I would say you might want to know is SS, or sugar sister. A sugar sister is essentially another fellow sugar baby, and they're just helpful to have most of the time, because vanilla friends, like, they're okay to talk to about our lifestyle, but when the money starts, it transforms like a lot of friendships, and I've experienced that firsthand. Just friends expecting you to pay more, or oh, just ask your sugar daddy if he can buy us lunch. Like, sis, he's not our sugar daddy, he's mine. But it just gets weird. But sugar sisters are great to have, but you also got to watch your back, because you're in a money hungry industry as a sugar baby, and it's just very competitive. But two of my closest friends, one of them, I talk to her about anything going on in my regular life, sugar life, and she's so supportive. But it's just really helpful to have a sugar sister, because they just get the lifestyle. Okay, so next we're gonna move to where to find a sugar daddy. So you have two options, online and in person. And remember, we said in person is called freestyling. So most people will tell you to start online. I'm sure 99, if not 100 of you guys listening have heard of Seeking Arrangement. Please consider the overwhelming amount of people who join that same site every day looking for the exact same thing. Seeking Arrangement is extremely crowded, mostly with bots, people looking for that P for P, like I mentioned. It's just very crowded, and the men on there are either thinking that you're a bot because that's what they've encountered, or they've encountered a lot of girls that are like, well, I don't want to meet in person, like I just want to send pictures. Well, if they wanted to buy pictures, they could just do that on Pornhub or OnlyFans. Like, we got to be smart here about this. And you of course are going to see like an influx of girls who are like, I have a sugar daddy and I don't give him any sugar, or I don't meet them in person. And those type of girls, unfortunately, are ruining the market. Now, there are daddies that want to be platonic and want to just, like someone to take to dinner every now and then. They don't want anything physical. They are there. However, trying to finesse them online does more harm than good, if that makes sense. So 4 years ago, I met my first SD on Seeking Arrangement. I lived in Orlando at the time. He lives currently in Palm Harbor. I was nervous at first, based on our conversation. I wish I still had it, but I've literally deleted and re-signed up and deleted that account so many times, it's not even there. But I'd say I had luck on Seeking Arrangement. I just do want you guys to be careful because it is overcrowded and it's full of people that are scamming you. Another site that I've had luck on is called sugardaddymeet.com. They have like a swiping feature. So they don't have an app, but they have a swiping feature similar to like Tinder or Hinge or even Bumble, where you kind of just like swipe and say like yes or no, and then they'll match. The downside about Sugar Daddy Meet is that the guys have to message you first. So similar to Bumble. Otherwise you have to pay. I'd never have paid to use that site. I just post pictures that I know that will grant me, a conversation, and then we go from there. Once they message you, it's free, but up until that point, you're kind of just swiping. So once you make your profile, it's super important that you have really great pictures and that they're clear. It's also important to make sure you have like a very concise profile. Sugar sites are not like regular dating sites. They're like almost like auctioning sites, which sounds terrible, but it's the sad reality of what sugaring is. You're basically trying to sell your best assets and sell that you're worth splurging this money on. So you got to kind of like put the best parts of you on there. Like when choosing your pictures, which is what we're all going to see first, that's what you're going to see when you look on their profile. Make sure that you have pictures that are like your best assets. So, if you have a banging body, upload a bikini picture and a face shot with makeup. They don't care that, oh, I'm natural and, I don't have to wear makeup. Like they want to see you at a 10 on your profile picture. If you're able to travel, make sure, or if that's something that you want from a potential daddy, make sure you post a picture of like you on vacation. And that's also a great conversation starter. We all know why we're on this site. So there's no need to be like, I'm looking for something mutually beneficial when, that's why we're here. So you got to have something else to talk about in the conversation. If you have, really nice feet, upload a foot picture. Never, and I mean never, upload private pictures. It's annoying having to deny the requests of guys that are like only interested in seeing pictures that they assume are sexy or risque. So don't even give them the time of day, and they don't have the money that you want anyway. I will say though, with sugaring sites like Seeking Arrangement, like Sugar Daddy Meet, even using like Tinder or Bumble to find daddies, like you're going to have to filter out the spam and bots and the overly horny men just as you would on any other dating site. Just because they're older doesn't mean that they're more mature, like at all. And you just have to remember why you're there. Like you're not an escort and you're not a prostitute, that you're a sugar baby. So you need to set your boundaries and stick to them. Whether you're new at sugaring or you've been in the game, if you let them walk all over your boundaries, they will. So you just set those standards and stand on them. Like you're the prize at the end of the day. Like they want you. They want to spend money on you. You just have to highlight yourself and stand out of the hundreds of thousands of girls that are trying to get their money too. So the next step is having a clear and concise profile. Your profile should have like an interesting headline, something cute and flirty. I love daddies that have boats or that can take me on trips. And so my headline is usually like the same across all of my sites. It says, just a mermaid missing her captain. You're welcome to steal that, but you just want to make sure that it makes sense for your lifestyle and what exactly you're looking for. Also, if you go on YouTube, there's a bunch of girls that show like exactly what they put in their profile, and honestly, just steal it. Just do it, and nobody's gonna know, I promise you. Next, you're gonna want to keep it cute and just really stress and like your about me, that you're interested in being spoiled, and then what kind of like things that you're into. I really cannot stress, like when you're messaging these guys, I guarantee you that the word they're going to say is chemistry. Like, I'm interested in having an arrangement with you, but I want to make sure we have chemistry first. And that is what's going to lead to your first date. But let me read to you guys exactly what's in my about me so you can get an idea of how to like format yours. My about me says, just loving life in the Bay. I love anything related to being in and on the water, wine, and sushi. I have a healthy work-life balance, which means lots of time for you. I've been in 9 countries so far, hoping to hit 10 before the next year. Two strange things about me: I love horror movies and I own more bikinis than regular clothes. So that is a huge opening to us a ton of conversations. Like, oh, you like sushi? Nice. Oh, you like wine? What kind of wine do you like? Red or white? Healthy work-life balance. What industry do you work in? 9 countries. Which ones have you been? Like, there's so many different conversation like pointers that I'm giving them just by talking about myself. Very important. Very important. If you're not sure what to say, you can always screenshot, send me a message on Instagram. I will help you. I always leave a question at the end of my profile, like when it says like, what are you looking for, / about my match is what it says on Sugar Daddy Meet. And it says like, message me and tell me like your go-to vacation spot. This will help you weed out a lot of time wasters, which is another phrase I should have mentioned. Time wasters are daddies that make it seem like they're interested in all these things, but then they never actually like make it happen. And I can't tell you how many time wasters I've encountered, probably more than like legitimate daddies, because I think men in general are just time wasters. But you know, this is not a hate bashing podcast. This is an informative podcast, but it's very true. Ask any girl that you know that's ever been a real sugar baby about time wasters. But leaving a question, you know, if they message you and they say, oh, hey, you're really good looking, thanks, but did you read my profile? Like, to see if they even took that time, right? And I know that, you know, being a new sugar baby, it can be very overwhelming and exciting to get all these messages. But at the end of the day, you need to remember that like you're getting paid for your time. So don't let them try to sell you anything based on words. Until you get a payment in your checking account, savings account, cash, whatever, they are not your sugar daddy. They are still a pot. So just as much as you're selling your assets, they need to come correct as well. So please, please, please remember that. In my about my match section, or what I'm looking for, which of course all of this can translate to like any dating site pretty much. Be careful on Tinder. I'm actually banned from Tinder for using it to find sugar daddies, but you absolutely can. But yeah, so on my about my match, I said I would love to meet someone genuine and sweet and who loves being extra romantic, aka giving me gifts. I didn't put the AK part, but we can appreciate each other and spend time together. Message me your favorite place you've ever traveled if you're interested in meeting. Remember, we're not on these sugaring websites to be pen pals. We're here to meet in person, make sure they're who they say they are, start our arrangement, and collect our reparations for being young and hot women and men too, of course. There's of course men sugar babies. Next, we're going to move on to freestyling, which of course, just a reminder, is the art of meeting a sugar daddy in person. So this is way more fun in my opinion, but also much riskier. You will encounter a lot of time wasters this way, but you will also encounter a lot of free meals this way. A quick little fact: single and divorced older men like younger women, which we all know that. They aren't looking to be married again, and they probably have kids that are your age. If that bothers you, turn the podcast off. You're not ready to be a sugar baby. The fact is they would rather engage with a younger, prettier woman, like for ego purposes for themselves, than date someone their own age. And that is where we swoop in as, you know, sugar babies or potential sugar babies. Freestyling is just a more simple term for picking someone up at a bar, but the someone is a pot. The best way to do this is to go alone. I know that it can be extremely weird to go sit at a restaurant bar alone, but I'm literally telling you from personal experience, this is how I got my most recent SD, is by freestyling. It's easier because you get to let your personality shine across rather than across messages, which can be, you know, interpreted weird or sounding weird. Thursdays and Fridays are the best days to go. Anytime after 5 p.m., you always sit at the bar. It is very hard for someone to come and talk to you if you're at a table because they don't know if you're meeting someone or if you don't want to be disturbed. But at a bar, it's more like of an open setting, you know? So definitely sit at the bar, order some wine. You don't want anything too strong so you can stay cognitive. 99% of the time, there's going to be someone else that's sitting there alone. Look for a really nice, expensive suit. Look for a ring. You always look for a ring and you always avoid the ring. Just don't do it. Don't do it. Are there married pots? Yes. Are there married SDs? Yes. We're not getting into that this episode. So you grab yourself a seat, try to leave one seat like in between. It's really like a science now that I'm saying it out loud, but you leave a seat in between yourself and them. The easiest way is once you get your drink, spark up a conversation with them, say like, hey, what are you drinking? Like, I think I'm going to switch from wine. This isn't really doing it. Or just say like, oh, I'm having a rough day. I need to change it up. Or I've been looking to try a new drink. The conversation will go from there. Just keep kind of like prodding. Eventually there's going to be a compliment, to which you're going to smile and say something like, don't start flirting with me unless you're ready to spoil me, which is my line to go to. And they'll say like, oh, don't worry about that. Like, I can handle it, or whatever, something corny but cute. Regardless, that's going to be the lead that you need to kind of like get it going. So from there, you'll know if they're like serious about spending money or not. I would never come out and say I'm a sugar baby, or I would never come out and say I'm looking for an arrangement when you're freestyling, because it can be a quick turn off, and then it makes them feel like they're being used. Whether you're online too, don't ever say like, well, how much, or this is my price, because it makes it seem like they're being used. Like, they will tell you like, oh, I want something genuine. I want something like with a real connection. You never want to make them feel like they're being used. So whatever you're going to say to them, I would make sure that you would be okay hearing it the other way around. When you're freestyling, if you've been successful, they should offer to cover your tab, which has happened in every single freestyling pretty much since I've started. I'm not going to lie to you guys and say like in the beginning I didn't fail at it, because it's literally an art. Like, you just have to be really good at flirting. You don't have to sell yourself as much as if you would like online, but confidence is key in this game. Like, sugaring, you need to be confident and know that you are the shit. Like, you may not be his 10, but you're somebody else's 10, and you just need to embrace that shit. So that's pretty much the basics. There are literally 1,000,001 scenarios and variations on different conversations that you can have, different types of daddies, different sites. But just make sure you find the one that works for you and your comfort level, and you go from there. Next episode, we will discuss how to set the terms of your arrangement. I'm also going to help you guys figure out what's a scam, what's like a pot, what's a Splenda daddy, because that is something too. And then, of course, going over what are like real potential daddies and how to respond. So we will get into all the nitty gritty, and I will, of course, keep these episodes short, cute, and sweet. So keep listening, and thank you guys, of course, for tuning in and being so patient with me when I do these episodes. I love you guys, and happy hoeing.